Hey guys, Brad Danger here, and this is one of those videos that starts fights in the comments before the intro is even done. Sometimes a sports car looks absolutely perfect on paper, the badge is right, the engine sounds wild, the price feels suspiciously low, and your brain immediately goes, wait, how is this still affordable? And the answer is always the same, because you're not buying a bargain, you're buying a problem. These are the sports cars that look like steals, drive great for 5 minutes, and then slowly ruin your life one repair bill at a time. Cars that trick smart people into making really dumb decisions. Cars that feel like a flex right up until the tow truck shows up and the driver gives you that look. You know the one. So today we're talking about the sports cars that are not ideal, the ones that you should not buy, the ones you should run away from, Fast and Furious style, no matter how cheap, cool, or tempting they seem. And we're starting with the one that emotionally devastates the most people. The Mazda RX-8. This is the car Mazda fans pretend never happened, the car that followed one of the most legendary Japanese sports cars of all time and somehow managed to undo decades of goodwill in a single model cycle. On paper, the RX-8 sounds incredible. Rear-wheel drive, near perfect weight distribution, a high-revving rotary engine, a design that still looks futuristic today. Mazda genuinely thought this thing would carry the rotary torch into the modern era. Instead, it became a support group. Let's talk about the engine. The Renesis rotary, Mazda hyped it like it was the second coming of the 13B. More power, cleaner emissions, better reliability, all the benefits, none of the downsides. The RX-8's signature move is not starting. You drive it for a short trip, shut it off before it's fully warm, come back 5 minutes later, and the engine just cranks forever like it's thinking about its life choices. That's flooding, and it's not a rare quirk. It's a personality trait. Then there are the apex seals, tiny pieces of metal that are absolutely essential to keeping the engine alive and absolutely determined to destroy themselves. Once they wear, compression drops, misfires start, and the engine is effectively on borrowed time. And no, this is not a cheap fix. A proper rebuild is thousands of dollars, and that's assuming nothing else is wrong, which it always is. Mazda also designed the RX-8 to burn oil on purpose. By design, it consumes oil like a two-stroke dirt bike. If you don't constantly check it, top it off, and babysit it, congratulations. You just accelerated your own engine failure. Most RX-8 owners eventually become human dipsticks. And then there's the identity crisis. It's a sports car, but it has rear suicide doors. It seats 4, technically, but not comfortably. It wants to be practical and hardcore at the same time and ends up being neither. Yes, it looks cool. Yes, it sounds interesting, but unless you enjoy rebuilding engines, explaining rotaries to strangers, and wondering if your car will start today, the RX-8 is a hard no.
Hey guys, real quick, Rocky from New York didn't think he'd win either until he actually did. GTR, cash, flight out here, weekend with us, car shipped home, life changed forever. If you've ever said, I never win anything, this is your moment to prove yourself wrong. Click the pinned comment, sign up, get entered, and go claim your shot. Now, back to the show.
Next up, the one that almost got Audi sued into oblivion, the first generation Audi TT. When this thing dropped in the late 90s, it looked like nothing else on the road. Clean lines, Bauhaus design, minimalist interior. Everyone wanted one. What nobody realized at the time was that Audi had accidentally created a car that actively wanted to kill its driver. Early TTS had a massive stability problem. Ultralight rear end, no rear spoiler, suspension geometry that made the car incredibly prone to snap, oversteer, lift off the throttle mid-corner and the back would come around faster than your brain could react. People crashed, people died. Audi panicked, they slapped a rear spoiler on it, tweaked the suspension, added electronic stability control, and quietly hoped everyone would forget. But even after the fixes, the damage was done. And then there's ownership, the 1.8 turbo, timing chain issues, turbo problems, vacuum leaks everywhere, the VR6, timing chains that love to fail in the most expensive way possible, electrical systems, peak early 2000s Audi chaos, random warning lights, dash Christmas trees, climate control that does whatever it wants, and if you go quattro, the Haldex system is just waiting to fail and empty your wallet. So let's do the math. A car with a dangerous early reputation, expensive maintenance, constant electrical issues, and now over 20 years old. That's not a bargain, that's a trap. Next, a car that looked like GM finally understood what people wanted and then absolutely did not. The Pontiac Solstice. On the surface, this thing should have been a Miata killer. Rear-wheel drive roadster. Sharp styling, affordable price. GM's answer to lightweight fun, except the base model was slow. Painfully slow. 0 to 60 in over 7 seconds. That's family sedan territory, and not even a fast family sedan. The GXP fixed that with a turbocharged engine, but then you got turbo problems, fuel system failures, and GM reliability doing GM reliability things. The interior feels like it was designed by someone who had heard of sports cars but never actually sat in one. Cheap plastics, awkward ergonomics, switch gear that feels like it came from a rental Malibu, and the roof. Oh my God, the roof. Want to put the top down? Cool, pull over, get out, unclip things, fold things, wrestle fabric, hope nothing breaks. Meanwhile, a Miata owner just flipped theirs down at 35 miles an hour without even thinking about it. And then there's the big one, the ignition switch defect. Over 1 million GM vehicles recalled, engines shutting off while driving, power steering gone, airbags disabled, multiple deaths linked to it. If your Solstice hasn't had the recall done, you are literally gambling every time you start the car. So unless you want a sports car that's slow, awkward, cheaply built, and potentially unsafe, keep scrolling. Next up, the most seductive financial mistake on the internet, the Mercedes-Benz SL600. You're scrolling. You see it, a V12 luxury convertible, German engineering, under 15 grand. Your heart skips a beat, and then reality hits you like a service invoice. That 6-liter V12 is incredible, smooth, powerful, quiet, and an absolute nightmare to maintain. Oil changes cost more than some people's monthly rent. Fuel injectors cost 4 figures each, and there are 12 of them. When things leak, and they will, in this, half the engine has to come apart. The car is packed with advanced electronics and hydraulic systems that were cutting edge at the time and catastrophic now. The suspension system alone can cost more to repair than the entire car is worth. And let's not forget the biodegradable wiring harnesses. Yes, Mercedes actually used wiring that disintegrates over time. The SL600 is gorgeous. It drives beautifully, and it will bankrupt you with a smile. Next, a car that could have been great and instead became a meme. The Pontiac Fiero, GM's first mid-engine sports car. Bold idea, cool looks, and an early reputation for catching on fire. The early cars had oil leaks, overheating issues, and connecting rod problems. The 1984 model year alone had over 100 reported engine fires. People literally called it the Fire O. Even ignoring the flames, it wasn't fast. 92 horsepower in a car that looks like it should be doing burnouts. The suspension was borrowed from economy cars. The interior fell apart, and finding a clean one today is a nightmare. If you want a real mid-engine experience, buy an MR2, not a rolling campfire. And finally, the one that hurts the most, the BMW E60 M5. On paper, this is perfection. A V10 that revs to the moon. Over 500 horsepower supercar noise in a sedan. One of the coolest engines BMW ever built. And one of the most expensive mistakes you can make. Rod bearings are the headline. Replace them or roll the dice on a $15,000 engine rebuild. Throttle actuators fail constantly. Sensors die for fun. And then there's the SMG transmission, a single clutch automated manual that destroys clutches, fails pumps, and leaves you stranded. Yes, you can manual swap it for the price of another car. When it works, it's magical. When it doesn't, it's a financial horror movie. So there you go, sports cars that look tempting, sound amazing, and will absolutely ruin your life if you buy them without knowing what you're getting into. If you want to find actual ideal cars, the good ones, use the pinned Auto Tempest link in the pinned first comment, and remember to go to winthisIdealCar.com to get entered to win your dream car, plus bonus cash. I'm Brad. This is Ideal. Like, subscribe, turn on that notification bell, and let me know in the comments if there's any cars that you think are cool, but, well, you found out later that they weren't. Check out these Ideal vids over here and promise me one thing, keep living the ideal lifestyle.